Welcome to Presentation, Ponder, Practice. The writer of Hebrews applies the contrast between God's message delivered through Moses on Mount Sinai and his message through Jesus on the heavenly mountain of Zion. In this contrast, the author gives a warning about unbelief. In application, he wrote in verse 25, "See to it that you do not refuse him who is speaking. For if those did not escape when they refused him who warned them from earth, much rather we will not escape who turn away from him who warns from heaven." The readers need to pay close attention to the one who speaks, namely God. Those who refused to hear God's message at Sinai did not escape death. This lesson will be repeated if the readers choose to do what their ancestors did at Mount Sinai. And his voice, the voice of God, shook the earth then, but now he has promised, saying, "Yet once more I will shake not only the earth, but also the heaven." Another contrast is introduced here, this time between what the voice accomplished then and now. The term promised implies God's message in Scripture, a past event with present consequences. For the shaking of the earth and heaven, see Haggai chapter 2 and verse 6. The author of this letter, though, quotes the Old Testament passage just mentioned, but widens its meaning of earth and heavens to speak of the universe, earth and heaven. Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 27 then reads, "This expression, 'yet once more,' denotes, that is, reveals or makes clear, the removing of those things which can be shaken as of created things, so that those things which cannot be shaken may remain." The author explains what the word translated "once more" means. He says that when God shakes the earth, but also the heavens, which is equated to the universe, he will remove or change, as the Greek word can also be translated, the created things. The term for change was adequately translated changed in Hebrews 7 verse 12, but it's a much stronger meaning here, and so the word remove is used. The same idea, though, is expressed through an Old Testament quotation in Hebrews chapter 1, verses 10 through 12. The implications are this: the created things can be shaken and removed, but things which belong to heaven are not shaken, thus they remain. Therefore, since we receive a kingdom which cannot be shaken, that is, unshakable, enduring, unchangeable, let us show gratitude, by which we may offer to God an acceptable service with reverence and awe. The kingdom we receive is unshakable. Therefore, it remains, it endures, it does not change. We should be thankful and have grace or kindness, which speaks of action based on acknowledging appreciation. Thus, we should show thankfulness or render thanks to God. To receive a kingdom most likely means that we receive the promised land, a permanent place to live, as in Hebrews chapter 11, verses 13 through 16. The phrase can also mean that we receive from God the right to rule with him. Passages like Daniel 7, verses 14 and 18, also, several New Testament passages like Matthew 19:28, Matthew 25, verse 34, Luke 12, verse 2, and Luke 22, verse 30 show this same idea of us reigning and ruling with him. In showing gratitude, we are to worship God in an acceptable manner with reverence and awe or fear. We are to hold on to God's promises, for or because our God is a consuming fire. The quote is from Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 24. Our is not part of the quotation. What was said about God, though, in the Old Testament is still true of Christians today, and that's the writer's point. God will destroy or consume us with fire if we are unfaithful to him. By the writing of this letter, the author warns readers about the terrible results of unbelief. The Israelites of the Old Testament gave us a very real example of unbelief which should not be repeated by us. Proper ways to show thankfulness to God are by holding on to His promise and showing gratitude in worshiping God in an acceptable way. What's the takeaway for us? Be serious about God. He has made an amazing offer to give us a permanent home with Him in heaven. We must become and remain faithful to Him to receive this blessing. If we become unfaithful, God will consume us with fire. May God bless you in heeding the warning and ultimately avoiding the punishment of consuming fire.